Hello folks, Root Beer here once again. I thought I'd talk about what to do for the short term, that is the sort of weeks, week or two, or maybe even just a month, if you want to have a lot of time here, leading up to your competition or your examination or whatever it is. Okay? The first thing that you should probably do, sort of the week leading up, is gather your materials. Okay, so I'm going to do a separate video on what sort of materials to bring, but I'm talking things like pencils, calculators, get all that stuff ready, and make sure those things are allowed. Okay, so you may have done past contest papers in terms of practice, and you might have read their description, as I do encourage you to do when you sit down to try them, but maybe it is this year some of the rules have changed and now calculators are banned. So look into those things, though they will hopefully be released at least a week or two before, if not longer, to help people prepare, just so that you know what is and is not allowed to be brought to your competition. So gathering your materials, going out and buying a calculator if you need to, if you don't have one, or buying a brand new set of pencils, that sort of thing. But especially with the calculator, in the week or two leading up to it, if you haven't used the calculator before, use it a lot. Try and just think up calculations to do. Get to know your calculator, because I think there's 3 major brands of calculator, at least here in North America. Texas Instruments is one. Blanking on the other 2 for some reason. I got a Texas Instrument right here. But there are a couple others, and sometimes they have different inputs. So you want to be very comfortable with your calculator. You don't want to be fumbling with your calculator and thinking, oh, I keep putting the equation in wrong while you're actually writing the contest. That gets you nervous, and it actually takes up time that you could be using to do more of the competition. Okay, so get comfortable with your calculator. Get comfortable really with all the materials that you've got together and have them all set. Other things you should do in the short term leading up to your contest, check your time. Check the time that it's going to be written. Check the room or whatever location that it's going to be written in. Try and figure out who's running it, who's proctoring it, who will be there. You want to know who they are, maybe even introduce yourself to them. But as a former proctor, we don't really want people coming up and saying, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm writing the contest, I'm really excited. Congratulations." And some proctors will be like, "Yay, I'd like to see that." But for the most part, you're probably not going to interact with this person ever again, so you don't need a super formal introduction and tell them your life story and why you're there. But knowing who it is can certainly help you, especially when you get there. Look for that person, and you can see, oh, am I in the right person? Yes, I see Mr. Jefferson. I know he's the one who's organizing this. Okay. Oftentimes, especially for high school level contests or even university level contests, you probably already know the person who's going to be running it. But in the short term, in the week before, that can sometimes change if, death in the family or unexpected holiday, that sort of thing. So do be aware of those things, the times, the rooms. Also, other participants. Now, hopefully you have formed some sort of study group or some other small collection of people, and you probably know some other people who are writing. This is not the case, especially for people who are in rural areas, who are sort of coming to town to write the competition or writing it online, that sort of thing. So then you may not know anyone else, but just like wanting to know you're in the right place by looking for a proctor, knowing that other members of your study group or other members of your enrichment program are there can say, okay, I'm in the right place, good. Now I can focus on relaxing. I'm here, now it's time to write the contest. Rather than, am I in the right place? Oh no, if I'm not in the right place and they're holding it in the other building, I got to run all the way over there. You don't want that sort of panic. A lot of these preparation things are just about reducing panic, making sure you're relaxed, because when we're relaxed, we write a better competition. Okay? Going along with that, especially speaking to people in rural areas, you want to have your transportation there arranged. You don't want to have to be phoning a taxi the day of. Okay, we got other things to worry about the day of the competition, so you want to have, your friend from your study group's mom. He's driving. She's driving him in, get a ride with them, make sure all that stuff is taken care of. So you're not begging for a ride on Thursday when the exam's being written Friday morning, that sort of stuff. Get that taken care of a week or two or even a month ahead of time. Okay, and if you haven't, if this contest sort of snuck up on you, so if you haven't already taken a look at least one other sample paper, make sure you try and do that in the week before. I talked about this when I was talking about how to prepare for the long-term. Practice is key. Practice, practice, practice. And if you don't have a similar competition or a similar midterm to look at and understand the format, understand your time and your budgeting, your time budgeting, then you will you can run out of time, or you can be unfamiliar with how to write things up, that sort of stuff. So if you haven't in the long term, definitely in the short term, get your hands on a sample contest. Give it a go. You don't even have to try it, although you probably should, but at least read through it, make sure you know what's allowed, make sure you know the format, and say, okay, for part A, I think I'm going to half an hour for that, and then maybe an hour for part B, that sort of stuff. Okay? Or I definitely want to leave 20 minutes at the end to review. Get that sort of stuff in your mind. Okay, and that's the sort of thing you should be doing short-term wise. And of course, if you got a sample paper, try a sample paper. So that you can do it under sort of the conditions, the time limits, the constraints, the no calculators allowed, whatever the contest tells you need to do it under those conditions, so at least you have a little bit of practice. Again, this sort of stuff will hopefully be taken care of during your long-term preparations, but if not, oh, we've got a brand new math contest, we're actually gonna write it this year, and it's 2 weeks before, and somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you want to write it, and you had no idea this contest even existed, then you might be stuck in this sort of short-term situation. Okay, and then you say, yeah, sure, do you have a past competition I can try and take a look at? Okay. That's about it in terms of short term, like week of. There's more stuff to talk about the day before and day of, but that'll be a separate video. And of course, we've already talked about what to do long term and super long term. Okay. So not a whole lot to do. Get your materials, get your transportation, and know where you're going and when you're going and how long you'll be there. Because you also probably want to arrange transportation home, that sort of thing. Okay. So I'll see you guys in another video for more contest taking tips of mine. Thanks for watching.